for having joined me this morning. I'm delighted to be here. I know it's a bit early morning in Spain, so I appreciate you being here with me today. I'm delighted to be in the Basque Country. Actually, I will start with saying that you may not know this, but the Basque Country is one of the fastest growing regions in Spain for vacation rentals. It ranks right at the top with Catalonia and Andalusia. It is ahead of Balearics and Canaries. And just to give you a sense of what this means, this summer actually, growth for vacation rentals bookings from Spain to the Basque Country has been about 45% year over year, so huge growth. Very good news for the region, very good news for us. And we are seeing that this growth is also happening from international travel. Both German and French travelers are growing actually in excess of 20% on an year-over-year basis for the Basque Country. So fantastic news for everybody again. Good, in the small video at the beginning for 2016, there was a box with big news. Okay, so what is the big news? The big news is that we are in a process of joining the Expedia family. And Expedia's mission is about revolutionizing travel through technology. And today I'm going to just jump into this statement, and I'm going to talk a little bit about consumer and travel trends and about how we are addressing them with technology. So I hope this will be interesting for you. All right, this is Homeaway. You already got an overview of who we are. We are the leading vacation rental player globally. We have 1.2 million entire properties. Actually, we're not about rooms, we're about entire properties. This is a key differentiating element versus some other competition going on. And we have 500 million users globally on our sites. When the company was created about 10 years ago, nobody, not us, nor competition, nor any observer, had any idea about how big this category could grow. And so 10 years ago, 60,000 listings. If you talk to our founder, Brian Sharples, he would tell you that at that time, 60,000 listings, properties on our sites felt like a huge inventory. And so today, again, we have more than 1 million properties. And so what is the future going to bring us? We think that the sky is the limit. So the growth opportunities in this category are just fantastic. All right, what is a bit unique with us is that we are a network of sites. So on top of the Homeaway brand, we also operate many of the leading national brands. For example, in France, we have Abritel. In Spain, we have Top Rural as one of our brands. In the UK, we have Owners Direct. In Germany, we have Fevo Direct. And so when you list on our sites, you have access not only to the global Homeaway consumer, but you also have access to all the people who love our local brands that have been around for a long time. All right, let's start talking about consumers and the vacation rental consumer in particular. And so what do vacation rental consumers look for, okay? And who are they? And these two elements are, of course, related. So vacation rentals are about value. What I always say is that for the cost of a hotel room, you can have a nice apartment. So it is a little bit of a no-brainer, easy proposition. It's about space, it's about amenities. For example, we did a little bit of homework about our inventory in the Basque region. And of course, the vast majority of all properties come with all the amenities that you need for your family, like a washing machine or a dishwasher and so on and so forth. But interestingly, more than half of the properties in the Basque region actually come with a parking place, for example, right? So you travel to the Basque region, to the Basque Country, with your family in a car, and you don't have to be worried about using your car because you have a parking place available. Or also the majority of the properties in the Basque Country come either with a garden or with barbecue amenities or with pet-friendly amenities. So this gives you a sense of really the difference between the hotel proposition and the vacation rental proposition, and also you can immediately understand why vacation rentals are a perfect solution for groups and families. right? It's very simple. All right, so groups and families, this is clearly our core audience, but travelers and traveler needs are evolving. So when we talk about families, we do not mean the traditional family like, 2 parents and 2 kids. We see in our data that our demographics are evolving. So we have kaleidoscope families, with all sorts of relationships going on. We have families. This is a big trend. It's about a combination of friends and family going together on vacation, spending time together. We have things such as punks and panks, professional uncles and professional aunts, so people with no kids but who are willing to engage in family type of relationships. And then, of course, vacation rentals are also a key opportunity for people who live long-distance relationships to get back together and enjoy a great time together at one beautiful property. All right, so how is technology changing? So we talked for a little bit about consumers, now we're going to talk about technology. And the key trend in this area is from search to smart to intuitive, okay? The leading edge of technology is about providing solutions before you have even expressed the need for those solutions. I'll give you an example. So the other day I was in a car with a friend and we were driving to a restaurant. And this friend of mine, he had an app, and the app came up with a message telling my friend what was the expected driving time to the restaurant. And the interesting thing is that my friend did not ask for that information, actually. So the app was figuring out that my friend was driving, in the direction of that restaurant, and that is a restaurant that he frequently visits. And so the app by itself was coming up with this information. So this is an example of how really technology can address changing consumer needs that are in the area of anticipation, proactiveness, seamless solutions, providing solutions when the need is not even formally expressed. So let's take a look at some of the trends that we're all experiencing, I think, in our lives. So who created a shopping list this year? Who put on paper what they wanted to buy this year? How many of you? Just a couple of you, if it was with, I don't know, the biggest families. But this space is obviously immensely evolving, right? Amazon Live, 1-hour deliveries. I particularly like this one at the bottom. So you have a small device on your washing machine, you press a button, and your washing powder is included in your cart and is delivered to your place tomorrow, right? So this is the future. This is already happening, actually. I will talk later about a partnership that we have in place with Instacart. So if you move to music, so who bought a CD in the last year? Actually, it's interesting, I think. Who bought a CD in the past year? Anybody? Nobody? One, okay. You win, great. So very few of us, of course, right? It's a no-brainer. So who wrote a check in the last year? So this is the future, online payments, digital payments. You can use your iPhone as a point of sale. So I'm sure all of you have experienced these things actually quite recently, but this will be the dominant way of transacting moving forward. And so the same trend has happened in travel and vacations. And all of you remember those old days, not so long ago, maybe 10 years ago, right? You would use magazines and newspapers. And I was personally very fond of doing a bit of research before leaving for my vacation. And I would make photocopies, and I would print maps, and I would write itineraries, and I would create a nice folder. I would then make a copy of a folder maybe for my partner as we were leaving to our favorite destinations and so on and so forth. And of course, this is now completely different. In the world, we think there are about 17,000 travel apps, and these apps actually cover the entire travel experience, from inspiration to planning to booking, of course.
Evolution from the offline to the online. We talked about the role of technology as a mean to anticipate needs even before they're expressed. We talked about travel apps. Here we have some figures about the growth in mobile, of course, 17,000 travel applications available worldwide. 80% of leisure travelers use them. You can clearly see the growth here. And going back to consumers, all this conversation is, of course, very relevant to the new consumers, right? To the young travelers. And young travelers are becoming more and more relevant in terms of the business that they generate in the travel industry. On this chart, you can see how much of the Homeaway and VRBO is our leading brand in the United States. You can see how many travelers are millennials, so Generation Y travelers. You can see that the curve is steadily increasing. So this is good news for the industry, for the category. Vacation rentals that typically are for families and groups are also being appreciated and have become actually an exciting proposition for the younger audience. You know, this gives us a tremendous hope in the future in terms of growth opportunities for our category. So let's understand, again, let's focus a bit on these young travelers. So please meet your customers. These are your customers. They look exactly like that. You know, they have their ears or their hands constantly attached to a digital device, to a phone, a tablet. They expect information to be immediately available and perfectly accurate and easy to access. So, you know, they will not tolerate any gap in your digital experience. And also for this, they have an expectation that everything should be available in terms of availability and ability to book at any point in time. So what we see is that these younger consumers have a clear tendency to book more last minute. They want to go on vacation, they want to rent a nice house, maybe for 8 to 10 people, to have a great party type of vacation, maybe in southern Spain, but they want to be able to book it, say, 2 weeks in advance. You know, that's a new expectation that is coming up, and it is really linked to the mobile experience as well. And on top of this, they also want to be inspired. So they're looking for adventures that they can share with friends on Facebook and other channels. So not only they expect from you that your information, your inventory should be immediately accessible in a very easy way with 2 clicks on the mobile, but they also expect you to provide inspiration, guidance, recommendations, and again, linking back to the conversation before, even on an unprompted basis. They don't want to tell you too much about themselves. They expect you to tell them and to show them opportunities that are relevant and interesting for them. So these are your consumers of the future. Please meet them. These are some of the points that we've discussed together. And when you look at the details, and here are some interesting figures for those passionate about data. So take a picture and take the data away with you. But they travel, they're more about groups and families, of course. They travel more by car. They travel to closer destinations on average. Their stay is typically shorter, and they book more in advance, right? So this is consistent with the picture that we have created about these emerging consumers. All right, now we're putting it all together, all right? We talked about consumers a little bit, younger consumers. We've seen how different they are from traditional consumers. We talked a little bit about vacation rentals and why people love them. We talked a lot about the role of technology in really enabling a smoother, intuitive, engaging experience. And now we are getting to the core of this presentation, and we're going to talk about what is that we're doing at Homeaway to jump on this trend and make all these young travelers happy. We call this mobile hospitality experience. And what we mean by this is that when you really think about hospitality, hospitality clearly extends beyond the booking phase, right? I mean, you have just completed your booking, that's when your experience starts. And this is a big trend in the industry, generally speaking, not only with us, also with all the major OTAs. This is about an ambition to stay on top of the post-booking and the stay period. So we have an ambition to address the needs of our consumers, not only when they book, but also after the booking and during their stay at our properties. And this is actually this is actually what we typically see happens with consumers. So the typical experience is that they book, and when they book, they have just found the perfect accommodation solution, so they're very happy. They know that they're going to Mallorca, they know they're going to San Sebastian, they're very excited. So that is an experience, a lot of energy. But then what happens typically with them is that they fall in this dark period. And the dark period is between the booking and the stay. And here is when you start wondering, okay, but I plan to arrive at the property at 10 p.m. and on the site, the owner was saying that he's available till 10, so am I really able to check in? Right? This is when you start wondering, okay, but in my reservation, I did not include my middle name, and is the owner going to let me into the property when they check my passport? This is when you start wondering, okay, but I have a very small kid, what happens if the kid doesn't feel well? Is there a hospital, is there a pharmacy nearby, and so on and so forth, right? This is when people start realizing that there are some practicalities they have to deal with. And today is not super easy to deal with these things because the information available on the site may not be perfect, okay? And the owners may not be immediately available, So if every single time, in order to ask one of these questions, you have to reach out to the owner by phone or with an email, you can see how the process is not streamlined and the experience is not ideal. It's not very efficient, really. So what is it we want to do? We want to really drastically improve the experience of our travelers and of our new, younger travelers in particular, between the booking time, between the time they book and the time they stay, and also during their stay. And we call this Mobile Hospitality Manager. And the point is to provide the right information at the right time, to make everybody save time, and to provide with a customized experience. And I will show you immediately what this means. So it is an app. So it comes with a format that consumers love. It is an app. And essentially you have in your pocket all the information that you need. You have information about your pre-arrival, you have information about the rental, you have information about what's going on in the neighborhood, and so on and so forth. And this is built in a very smart way because there is information that is automatically created by the system. There is also information that is provided by the owner. So imagine that you are a property owner. Instead of having to repeat to every single one of your travelers, what is your favorite restaurant? Because that is something that you will have to repeat hundreds of times. You just provide this information in the app. So this is really about providing relevant information at scale in a seamless way along the lines of what we discussed before. If you are an owner, you have to make that small investment only once upfront. You will enter the details of a pharmacy, you will enter the details of a supermarket, you will enter the details of your favorite fish restaurant, of your favorite meat restaurant, you will enter the details how you can make the barbecue work, and this information will be available to the travelers in a very easy way. It's always in their pocket. They pull up the phone, they pull up the app, they're looking for anything. It's very simple, it's very intuitive. They click on an icon, and there you go, you have the information available. And actually, this is done in a very smart way. I really love this example. The information is organized in cards, in pieces or sets of information, kind of nuggets of information. And so before the arrival, this is about really being intuitive. This is a direct example of what I was telling you before in terms of providing with a seamless experience and with the ability to anticipate needs. This is very smart, I think. So before you arrive at the property, when you pull up this app, you have information about things such as driving directions and check-in instructions. So those things are at the very top. But when you have arrived at the property, so and the app knows when your check-in date is, when you have arrived at the property, the information that you find on top is no longer the check-in and driving directions information. It's more about activities and things to do and how you can use amenities available at the property. This is really, really smart, and this is something that consumers love. And on top of this, the app helps you connect with the world and with all the exciting activities and services that might be available. So you want to order groceries at your place, or maybe you have traveled by air and you need local transportation, the app knows where you are, the app knows the details of the rental. You click on a button and you can have your deliveries at your door in a couple of hours, or you can have an Uber car also at your doorstep. And indeed, in this area, we have activated a number of exciting integrations. So we have a partnership with Uber in the United States. We have a partnership with Instacart, which is about fresh grocery delivery. And we have also a partnership with Gogobot, which is about local activities, events, content that you can explore on the app. Guests and travelers really love this proposition, very love it. We had 1.3 million downloads of this service to date. So it's fabulously popular, people like to engage. The average guest uses the app 25 times, which gives you, an idea of how powerful and how delightful actually this service is for our travelers. And so as they use the app 25 times, they're so engaged and so excited that they want to engage their friends and family members and people they know. And so the app comes with a social capability. So if you want to invite somebody and you want to pass on the details of a famous fish restaurant, or you want to invite somebody because you have just booked an activity, you can do that and seamlessly in the app. All right, so this is what we're doing at Homeaway to address the consumers that we saw before. Those people, you remember, everybody was very concentrated on using and attached to their smart devices. So that is the future. All of us will have to deal with this population moving forward. It's something that you cannot ignore. Maybe one single message you may want to retain is that people expect that you will provide solutions even before they formally ask for them. So we talked a little bit about consumers, we talked a little bit about technology, and then I have presented to you something that we are really proud about. It is our mobile hospitality solution that we think is a great example of how technology can revolutionize travel, in particular to new emerging consumers and travelers. Thank you. Thank you.
Just a question. You are one of the fast-growing companies worldwide, digital environment, but at the same time, you operate in a fragmented market. In terms of regulation, for instance, sometimes on a country basis, and even in local basis. How you deal with that? You have to put resources on working on that, but how a company like you, like Homeaway, deal with that fact? That have to face regulation in a fragmented world, in a fragmented market.
That's right, yeah. So regulation is certainly keeping us very busy. I'm not the ultimate expert here, I have to say. We're certainly in favor of good regulation. Something that we always highlight is an opportunity to harmonize and standardize regulation more. For example, in Spain, we know that regulation is very fragmented, and this is creating a real challenge for companies like us, who do want to engage on regulation and do want to participate, and we also want to share best practices with local administrations and the local governments. But the extreme fragmentation is creating a big challenge for us. So if there is one single message on regulation, I would say it would be great if we all provided, energy and feedback driving towards more standardization and harmonization.
And do you think Spain is one of the countries that are understand well this evolution, or?
At the moment, to be frank with you, we see that Spain is a country where you have a lot of opportunity in this space. You have a lot of activities and details going on at a very local level. It's really the city level. And again, we are a global company, and we certainly have a big local presence as well. We have a big presence in Madrid, and we have, properties everywhere in Spain. So we certainly try to engage, but you can clearly visualize how complex it is for a company like us to engage with dozens of cities, right? So we are not against regulation. We think regulation, all in all, is a good thing, in particular if it is flexible and if it allows to improve the way that consumer needs are met. And we're just highlighting an opportunity to maybe plan for regulation at a slightly high level in Spain as well, so that this issue of fragmentation is addressed.
Okay, thank you. ¿Alguna pregunta desde el... ¿Alguna cuestión que plantea Marcello? No? Okay, thank you, Marcello.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.